Queen. Welcome into the Queen's Lair. I wanted to go ahead and show you guys my automatic guild boss or banker team. It is nothing super special, but I am able to get 5.5 million damage or more on average just by doing auto fights. I don't know about you guys, but personally, I don't have the time to sit here every single day and manual my guild boss. I will say I might do that once a week if I'm feeling like I want to show my guild mates or the people in my guild what's up and show them how much damage I can do. But for the most part, as long as I'm able to farm the books or the pieces to make legendary books, I'm fine with it. You can see I am down here, number 7 right now in my guild with 5.8 million. This was received just doing auto. After I show you the team and we kind of go through that, then I'll go and show you all of the heroes individually, their gear, and all that good stuff. I do want to do a shout out here to my Weebo, I think that's his name here, and he has 10 million in the guild. He's doing great, killing it. I will also say that my lineup did not specifically just come from me. I did get some of the idea here from another one of my guild mates, Springer, who was doing the top amount of damage in our guild, but this guy here is really just bouncing up. But as you can see here, I'm using the exact same team as him. He is getting a bit more damage, and I'm pretty sure as well he's also manualing this for the most part. So keep that in mind, and let's go ahead and I'll show you how I'm getting 5.5 million on average. I have on the first team William, Bulin, Marion Shadowblood, and Jacob. I'm using the same spells for both, just some healing as well as the defense down. And then on my second team, I have Scarlet, Aaron, Mikasa, and Bachelard. Of course, not everyone is going to have Aaron or Mikasa. These were limited time heroes. So unfortunately, if you didn't participate in the event or honestly shell out a bit of money to get them, which I ended up doing, then you didn't get them. And I'm sorry, that is really unfortunate. So keep that in mind whenever you're looking at this. I will also say this team could be massively improved and do so much more damage if I had a Barclay to pair here, because Barclay puts a lot of bleed effect on the boss, and that's exactly what you're looking to do in this team, because Mikasa deals extra damage based on how much or how many stacks of bleed are on the target. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Honestly, it's super, super simple. I will say, if I were to go ahead and do this on manual, I could get over 6 million, no problem. But again, I guess I'm too lazy to do that. I don't know, there's so many things to do in the game now, and this isn't the only game I play. So I do try to make things as time efficient as possible. I will occasionally swap out some heroes and try some new things, but honestly, if it works, it works. If I do get Barclay at some point, I will be switching up this team. And you're going to be able to do more or less damage, also depending on how booked these guys are, what level you have them at, their gear, and you also want to think about where your, what's it called? The level for, I can't even think, under the arena, where you're able to boost their health and defense and attack and whatnot, depending on what that is. I forget the name of it. I can never remember the names of anything. But that's also going to play a pretty decent role into what you're able to do here. The thing is, with this, if you do want to do this on manual, you want to, of course, oh, and as you can see, I do have Marion and Bulin with their other skills turned off completely. You don't need to turn Marion's off. Well, I'm sorry. If you're doing this on manual, you should always use Bulin's first ability no matter what. But with Marion, you can use her third ability whenever it's available. Just don't use her second. But because of William, and he makes these guys do, what, 60% more damage because of his passive trait, whenever they use basic abilities, you get way more damage out of these guys overall if you just turn their abilities off and do it like this. Another thing to look at, even if you are doing this on auto, if Jacob's veil, this right here, this ability where it looks like she's wearing a cape, doesn't land on either Bulin or Marion at the beginning, you could restart it. That will help and make up with a little bit of the difference. You don't want William using that at first. I can also say that another thing you can do before you auto is go ahead and use the defense down spell and then use one of William's other abilities. Ouch, I just smacked my arm on the table. But use one of William's other abilities and then go ahead and put him on auto, because it is going to use William's third spell, which applies defense down, and the defense down spell together in the same time or in the same turn. If you don't, as you can see, I didn't do that, and I'm still going to get over 5.5 million damage out of this fight. Hopefully, because I am recording it. I typically do get more than 5.5, but now might be the time when I don't. But in general, just if you're manualing it, try to get William's rage as high as possible, as fast as possible. That's going to be your biggest thing. You can see he does a really good amount of damage. And honestly, even with having Bulin's ultimate off or her other skills off, I'm pretty sure that she is the one that ends up doing the most damage on this team. You also can resist what just happened. So my Bulin is now stunned. That can be resisted. You are going to have a decent amount of resistance, but you don't have to build that into her kit. What you can do is go to that place I was talking about earlier that I can't remember the name of right now, and level resistance there within the, what's it called? This is ADHD brain, I'm sorry. The arena place where you can level up, health and defense and attack and whatnot. You can put resistance in there. I'm not saying that should be your priority by any means, but it is an option. So the turn order for this team is kind of important. I will say, if you were lucky enough to get Mikasa, but maybe you don't have Eren, or maybe you have Eren and Mikasa, but you don't have Bachelard, you can use Helmar. Helmar will help you deal a good amount of damage. The only thing with that is he's not going to be able to help you keep the meter down for the boss as well. But overall, he does really help Mikasa do an insane amount of damage with her ultimate ability. I mean, whenever I was trying that comp out, I was getting Mikasa to hit for like 150,000 damage on her ultimate whenever I got so many stacks of bleed on. So it is really, really, really nuts. But those are just a few options. And of course, like I was saying earlier, Barclay would be a really, really good option to plug in here. Hopefully, one of these days I get him. See, and he's able to dodge as well because I do have the resistance for all of my blue or water heroes pretty high. I actually was doing that whenever I had Opal on my team because she was getting targeted and stunned. Of course, that was hurting my damage output. But whenever they are able to dodge that or resist being stunned by the boss, it does make quite a bit of difference. It is honestly a lot of fun just watching this team work in general, though. Hopefully, one of these days they're going to come out with an option that allows you to do the guild boss in the background while you're also able to do other things, kind of like, you know, farming at the same time as doing other stuff. It would cut down on the amount of time that it takes to stare at the screen, which is, of course, nice. But I don't know if that's going to come anytime soon. It has been something that myself and quite a few other content creators have mentioned, but they don't really love listening to us all the time. So you know how that goes. Yeah, Bachelor Art is so good just for, honestly, for helping keep that meter down. What's she gonna do here? Only 86. I'm honestly wondering if maybe they did something to her to rebalance her and I might have missed it or something because she seems like she's hitting for a little less. Something else that the game likes to do or the devs like to do, and that really kind of frustrates me. You know, come out with a super good sort of OP hero and then nerf them because they're too good. Okay, so you can see here I didn't get 5.5, but I did get over 5 million damage, which is really, really nice. It does seem to, it does vary for sure. It is always over 5 million, but the most I've been able to get is, I think, 5.9. So really close to 6 million just on manual totally. As long as you're doing, I can't remember exactly, it's around like 3 million damage, then you're going to be able to consistently farm these Book of Legendary Masters Matrix. That's interesting. They used to just be called, they were pages, they're pages of the book. Once you get 100, you can make a full book for legendary heroes. That's really why you want to try to get over a certain amount of damage so that you can consistently farm that. But once you, honestly, after you're able to farm that, anything more is just kind of like, you know, showing off for fun a bit, you know. There's nothing wrong with that. It is nice to see what you can accomplish with what you have on your account. I'm going to go ahead and show you each of these heroes quickly. First, I have Bulin. She has been ascended 3 times. As far as her masteries, she has 1 book in. She doesn't really have a huge set thing going here. She does have the curse set, as you can see, but the other 2 pieces are just random. You don't really even need to put this curse set on her. It is going to help you deal a little bit more damage because she has the chance to proc another ability, which is going to, again, do 60% more damage because of William. So looking at her stats overall, 5,100 attack, 152 speed, 103 crit rate, 302 crit damage. This is kind of average for a later game build in general. I probably could get a bit more out of her, but it just works really well. As far as her health and defense, if I had these a bit higher, I would probably be able to get one more turn out of her. And if the resistance was a little bit higher too, then she wouldn't be getting stunned. But I think for you to be able to resist the boss, you need to have, let's see what Aaron's is at. I can't remember exactly. Okay, yeah, you need to have, I think it's over 45% to actually resist. So I guess I'll show you Aaron next. Aaron has been ascended twice. As far as masteries, I don't have any books into him. His gear sets, he has no set on at all. If I were to put a full curse set on him, he would get the option to take another turn, which would be really good for him because he puts a negative effect with his A1 or random stats down. Anytime that happens, Mikasa gets an extra turn and she places an extra bleed, which just means when her ultimate comes around, she's going to deal more damage. But overall, we have 5,000 attack, 151 speed, 77 crit rate, and 234 crit damage. Crit damage is low. But you have to think about his abilities. He does have the ability to give himself extra crit rate, which is why you don't need 100% on him, and extra crit damage as well as attack. You can build Aaron with the least amount of stats on your team. You just want to make sure that you have Mikasa going last on that team specifically. And as well, I do have all of the abilities and glyphs of everyone totally maxed out and finished. Mikasa, I have her ascended 3 times. Masteries, she has no books into her. On gear, I have her in a curse set and a warrior set. Her attack is 5,100, 100% crit rate, 289 crit damage. I will say as well that she can be resisted sometimes. So if you would like for her to be a lot more consistent on landing those bleeds, I would put a bit more focus on her. Overall, it's not completely necessary, but if you have the ability to get that stat raised any higher, then it will help. The resistance isn't a ton, but it does happen occasionally. Next up, we have Miss Florence. I actually have a Faith set and a Raptor set on my Florence. The Faith set is nice because it turns some of her healing into a shield for the entire team, which really helps with survivability. And then, of course, the Faith set is just going to give her extra focus. She does need focus because she is putting debuffs down. As far as masteries, I do not have any into her. I have her ascended 1 time, and let's look at her overall stats. We have 25,000 health, 1,500 defense, 222 speed. You do want her to be the first person on the team that she's placed in. You don't need to worry about any crit rate, crit damage, attack. She has 127% focus. This is really kind of high. You don't necessarily need that much, but I do use her in this exact build for other places within the game, so that's why it is kind of high. You could definitely get away with having this focus lower. Her resistance, again, this is also kind of high. For the guild boss, it doesn't really need to be like this, but this is really a good general overall build for Flareon that you can use in a lot of places. For Bachelard, I have no masteries. He's not ascended. For his gear, I have him in a curse set and a warrior set. His overall stats are not great. 4,100 attack, 184 speed, 105 crit rate, 252% crit damage, 46% focus, 40.5% resistance. If I were to put better gear on him, I would obviously get more damage from him. But like I said, with the amount of damage I'm doing, I'm not really too concerned about it. And then moving on, we have Marion Shadowblood. She is almost fully booked. She has 12 out of 15. If you've watched my masteries video and how to use masteries whenever, or the most efficient way to use them, then you kind of know what's going on with this mess. Of course, I'm trying to get into abilities here on her, but I just haven't been lucky enough to get that. For her gear, she's in an assassin set and a warrior set. The assassin set helps her do more damage overall because it's going to make attacks deal 15% more damage to the main target, and a 50% chance of dealing an additional 35% damage. So it's just really going to help stack a lot of damage. Plus, you do want Marion to be fairly quick. I have her at 225. 4,000 attack. I'm stumbling over my words. 107% crit rate, 277 crit damage. Of course, if you can get higher attack, that's going to be really good for you. Higher crit damage. The only thing is you have to really try. And 225 speed is slow on her. You do want about 240 speed to get the most out of her. She's going to take more turns overall, depending on how fast she is. So it's really good to try to get her to that 240 speed, but she does work really well if you can't quite make it. Next is Jacob, and if I know I didn't say so, and if you haven't noticed, all of these guys are level 70 as well. For masteries, I have him with 6 out of 15. I was really just looking to get the 4 gear boosts. I will be trying to go for his abilities at some time, but these are the ones you really want to look for and trying to get. For his gear, I have him in a curse set and a random other 2-piece set here, or in just 2 other random pieces. For his stats, 5,800 attack, 138 speed, 109 crit rate, 284 crit damage. And lastly, I'm pretty sure, oh no, there's one more, there's William after this. Scarlet, I have her masteries, 4 out of 5. She's fully ascended. For her gear, she is not in anything specific. She has a bunch of random thrown on gear. If you can put a curse set on her or something along those lines, she might have the option of doing an extra turn, which could be helpful, but it's not 100% necessary. She has 4,200 attack, 166 speed, 105 crit rate, 291 crit damage. Her attack could be higher here, and that would help us do more damage. And for the actual last one, we have William. William is really what's helping that first team that I showed do a lot of damage because of his trait here. So when you have him ascended, I do have him fully ascended, it is 60% extra damage when his allies use their basic ability. For William, as far as gear, I have him mainly in Raider sets. He does have this one random piece here, but that's just because the substats worked out really well for him overall. As far as his normal stats, I have him at 20,000 health, 227 speed. This is just so he's a little bit faster than Marion Shadowblood. As far as crit rate, 24%, 185% crit damage, 136% focus, 52% resistance. You could actually look to get 100% crit rate on William. This is going to help you put out a little bit more damage. It also depends on who you're going to put with him. In this team, it wouldn't make a huge difference, but it could help you get a little bit more damage overall if you did get him at 100% crit rate. But for the main part, just focus on his health, his focus, and his speed. As far as his masteries, I don't have any. He is going to be one of the next heroes I do prioritize, though, because in his abilities, he is going to be able to have a 100% chance of landing defense down instead of an 80% chance, which we definitely want, because the more consistent that is, the more damage we're going to be able to do overall. If you guys have any questions, let me know below. I would love to answer anything you guys might have. Also, join me live on stream. I have some more giveaways left for this month, and I really need to get rid of those because I would hate to have them wasted. Look out for me on stream throughout the week. It is kind of random. Sometimes it's in the middle of the night, and sometimes it's in the middle of the day because I have no schedule. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.